Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be watching this webinar. I'm Jeff Chandler, your host for the events calendar, and I'm here with Jeff. And Jeff, thank you very much for lending your time today. And what Jeff's going to be doing is showcasing some new features that are in the Events Calendar Pro.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. I guess together we're the Jeffs.
Oh, yeah, I have the correct spelling of the name, though.
Yes, that is correct. So my name is Jeff. I am a product owner at the Events Calendar, and today I am excited to talk to you about our latest feature release, which is about venues and organizers, specifically the new features for the Events Calendar Pro. So I'm going to actually share my screen because I'm pretty sure people don't want me to just be there and mime the whole thing. So hopefully everyone can see my screen by now. All right. So yeah. So hopefully these new features can help you or can make it easier for you to run and promote events. So let's dig in. All right. First off, before we get started, a bit of housekeeping. So here's a really quick agenda of what we'll be covering today. The newest, biggest feature is multiple venue support. And then we have featured image on pages. We'll talk about which pages that is, venue and organizer categories, hide organizer email and phone, and last but not least, some questions if you have them. Speaking of which, please post the questions in the chat. I'll be, of course, taking some time at the end to answer any questions you might have. However, I'm sure Jeff will spot any question that might be relevant or enhance the demo I'm doing. So just fire away as it comes to to your mind. So without any further ado, let's jump in and see what we're talking about here. All right, so multiple venues. So the idea is simple. It's single event, various locations. And what type of use case are we talking about here? Let's say you have a restaurant chain and you're broadcasting sports events. That would be a good example for like tomorrow's game at venue 1, 2, and 3. Festivals is another one that would be wonderful with multiple venues. Workshops and even bar crawls. And I'm sure you could come up with others. Again, this is a feature that's exclusive to the Events Calendar Pro, our premium add-on that sits on top of the Events Calendar. It also interacts with Filter Bar and opens up a bunch of possibilities for tickets. So let's check it out a bit to see what that looks like in practice. So here I have this calendar, and we're looking at the list view, of course. And as you could tell, normally in list view, you see all the different venues being listed with their event. And if you pay close attention, you'll notice, oh, this one with the rabbit here, or is that a bunny? I'm never quite sure. Someone could tell me in the chat. It says plus one more. And if you had three, it would say plus two more, and so on and so forth. So what does that look like again for your calendar visitors? So normally, as you know, when you have any event, the single event itself, if you look at the picture and description, you will see the venue is just sitting here with alongside the details and organizer. However, if going back to my bunny or rabbit example here, this one, as we know, has two venues. And what happens is the venues are then displayed separately like so. So that's really all there is to it for the front end for the people visiting your sites. However, when it comes to how does that work, Jeff, for the back end and stuff. So easy peasy. So here, what you do is you create your event normally, and given you have the Events Calendar Pro installed and active, if you want to add another venue, well, you just click on add another venue, and you could go on to as many venues as you see fit. So that's really that's the bottom line when it comes right down to multiple venue support. So fairly straightforward. And as I mentioned previously, what's really cool. So let's take a quick look here. It's at the Killback Cafe, and where else is it? Killback in Buckridge. Okay, cool. Something that's pretty cool is that this works great with filter bar. So filter bar, if we look at the venues here, let's say I'm gonna filter by the Killback Cafe here. I am going to see my streamlined, fourth generation capability, which is a horrible. These are all AI generated, in case anyone was actually wondering. Okay, so it filters here, and it's also, I'm gonna clear the filter. It's also at the book ridge. So if I filter by book ridge, yeah, it's still there. So it works great with filter bar, which is another one of our premium add-ons. When we release new features, whenever possible, we try to make sure they work great with some of our other plugins, such as filter bar in this case. So that's it for multiple venues. And so let's go back to the next one. Oh, and also it works in bulk editor. I forgot to mention that, obviously. Venues and organizers, we have the featured image support for the pages. Again, this is 100% a pro feature. You will probably see that you could put a featured image even if you have the free version, but it's not going to show up anywhere. So what's the point in that? So anyway, so looking at a venue, let's look at the Killback Cafe here. And you will notice that this lovely picture here actually comes from, I'm looking at the venue here, it comes from here. So, and when you have the featured image, what it does, it just appears here. And by the way, for those that are not familiar with our venue page, we have venue pages and organizer pages that are specific to the Events Calendar Pro again. And what that does when you go to a venue page, for example, well, it gives you a picture if you have one, gives you a map. If you choose to display said map, a little description, but what it really does, which is super interesting, is it lists all the events going on at that specific venue. So this is what a venue with a featured image looks like. And let's look at another venue without the featured image. So it's a bit more, I guess, to the point or dull, depending on what you're interested in. And again, you have complete control over what gets displayed or not. So if you want to remove the featured image for whatever reason here, you could do so. There are also other options. You could decide not, well, let's start to remove the map as well. So I'm going to remove both maps and the featured image. So let's look at what our Killback Cafe looks like now that I've done so. Yeah, it looks like there's no image. It also looks like there is no map. So that's it for featured image support. It works great for venues. It also works great for organizer pages, which is kind of the same deal except for organizers. So if you have a specific organizer, in this case, Martin, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this name. Thank you, AI. And you will see the list of events organized by Martin something something. Again, without, you could remove the image here. You could just go ahead and update. And this is what our organizer page looks like without the featured image. We redesigned this a bit, truthfully, and the breadcrumbs here also were redesigned. So it's looking good. And if you haven't, tapped in the benefits of using nice looking organizer and venue pages, please do so. And yeah, so that's it for those two that are
Yeah, with the web being so visual nowadays, the featured image support is very important because it allows you to create a unique looking page. It makes it look pretty, and it's way better looking than just a bland all text page.
Couldn't agree with you more. You heard the man. So put featured images on your venues and organizer pages because Jeff said so. And again, oh, this is interesting, by the way. As you can tell, the image is much bigger than earlier, and that is because depending on what, I didn't display the map. So it didn't need to make room for the map. Now that I'm going to turn it on again. And by the way, all of this obviously is 100% customizable with CSS, so you could have fun and make it look exactly the way you want it to. So yeah, so good point, Jeff. Thank you. So moving on to the next feature. Again, I know it's feature packed, but that's the whole point here. Okay. Venue and organizer categories. So the goal is to increase the discoverability of both of these pages. So how does that work exactly? So within, let's say, when you're creating a venue here, you could have now categories. I know these are not the greatest categories. Cafe is pretty straightforward. Multi-purpose, again, it's the AI's fault. I like to blame it on the AI. Um, so when you add those, they appear obviously within this bad boy here. So if I click on cafe, what it's going to do is it's going to list all the events that fall under this venue category, which is cafe. So you could see whatever stuff, like there's not much going on. And again, thanks to AI, but you could have an electrician talk, apparently, if you go to cafes in this specific calendar. So this is where it appears. This is one place it appears in. Same kind of deal, really, for organizers, typically, which I haven't put categories, but it will appear in the same spot as well. Another thing you could do, which is really cool, is you could use menus. So for those that are not familiar with menus, I won't go too deep, but suffice to say that if you click on the screen options here at the top right, you have access to a bunch of options here. Some of them are events calendar related, some of them not. What we're interested in here is, obviously, because this is what we're talking about, organizer and venue categories. So they're there. So what happens when you add those and you check them is now you could see, let's say I want to have a menu item in my navigation where people could access directly all cafes, for whatever reason. You could do the same with event categories and so on and so forth, depending on what you're trying to do with your specific use case. All right, let's move on and go to the next feature. I know this
Are
is
you
actually,
are you ready for your first question, sir?
yeah, go ahead. First question.
First
Can we
question is
use
yes.
the other? Yes, yes, yes. Sorry. This is okay. I see the trick in the question. Good question. So right now, the question is, can we use other
Oh.
Gutenberg blocks in with venues? So the answer is no for now, because as you right now, our venues and organizers can only be built using Classic Editor. For context, we are working on bringing our block editor and site editor game up to speed. It's not that we've been slacking off. For those that are wondering, we've been pretty busy, so stay tuned for the rest. So for now, no, we can't add those to venues and organizers because you can only create and manage them, unfortunately, for now with Classic Editor, but it's coming. It is definitely coming. So stay tuned on this one. It won't be long. So good question. Wish I had a better answer, but I guess it's coming, and it is actually coming. It is also the next. It's certainly better than no, never. That's for sure. So stay tuned. Thank you for your patience. We really appreciate it. All right, that's a good question. I'm glad people are paying attention. Awesome. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, hide organizer, email, and phone. So depending on your use case, again, I just want to reiterate this at the risk of being Captain Obvious. Um, so as you can imagine, there are so many different types of calendars and different types of needs out there. So it does make a ton of sense that depending on your specific flavor, you might want to do certain things while others might want to do different things, which is all fine. So one of said things is sometimes you just don't want people to reach your organizers at all, but you still want to have the info for yourself, but not with let's say public calendar visitors. So how do we do this? So there is well, I'm gonna find it. Well, I'm gonna find it live, even better. So if you go to events, you go to settings. And yes, I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna save that menu. You go to display. Okay, once you're here, you scroll all the, well, not all the way down, but mostly the way down. Okay, so here's your option. So for organizers, you could decide that you show their phone number on event single. So what is event single? It's this view. When you're seeing the details of an event, that's event single. You could decide to do the same on the organizer single. So what's the organizer single? Is this view that I was talking to you guys about earlier. So you see how there's the phone number here. In fact, you know, let's go crazy and let's see. It's always dangerous when I do this in the middle of the demo. I'm always concerned about Murphy's Law. So let's see if Murphy's Law.
This is my favorite part of the demo when you start doing crazy stuff.
Yeah. So in theory, whew, it worked. I get to live another day. so, so as you can tell, now on none of the organizer pages, the phone number is going to be there. However, I'm going to refresh just to prove I'm saying true things. Tell the phone number is still there for you to enjoy, but not for the public. So there you go. So phone number shows on the event single. So I guess to do a thorough job, I would also need to shut it down here, which, you know what, let's just be crazy and try that as well. Okay. And all right, Murphy's Law, don't fail me now. Yes, it's gone. See, wonderful. And same goes for, obviously, so we just saw organizers in this way. Sorry, did I go to the wrong spot? I'm having, you know, if I can do it, I'm hoping that I could give hope anybody can do it. It's the same thing, but for emails. So I'm gonna uncheck both here, save a bit of time. So you can see this email here. I just unchecked it and saved it, and it's gone. And if I go to the organizer single, see how this email is there. Boom. So yeah, so that summarizes, depending on the level of privacy you're interested in for your audience. And that's it, folks. These are all the new features. Again, the best thing I would recommend is you start thinking about how you want to use them. Please reach out if you have questions. Our support folks are there. And if you have a personal question for me, such as why are there so many ukuleles in the background, that's also cool. But yeah, that's it. I'll take questions now.
We do have a question here from Andrew. And Andrew wants to know, can you make it easier as an admin to find events by any words in an event title?
Okay, that's a good question. I'm going to try my best, Andrew, to answer it. And if I don't get that correctly, just let me know. So can you keep the question up, Jeff?
Yes, I can.
Thank you so much. Okay, because I want to. Sometimes it's all in the details, right? So let's go to the back end. The question is find events by any words in the event title. So I'm not so sure what your exact workflow is. Um, so let's take this one, robust. It would be one here. Uh, it's in the middle. If you just type it in when you're in the back end like this, it should pick up any part of what you're looking for. And by the way, while we're talking about Events Calendar Pro features, some folks actually prefer to use the Events Manager view, which is really very, very similar. It just looks more like the front end. And in this case, you could search just the same way I did, and you'll get your events like so. So yeah, so that's the best thing I would. I know if that answers your question as far as making it easier, but that's or maybe you had something else in mind. Please let me know.
All right. Next question is by Nancy. She says, we want to post a full monthly calendar that stays the same the whole month and even after the month is over. We need a way to then save the full month calendar as a WordPress post.
Huh, that's interesting. So if you're gonna do that, um, so I want to make sure I get this correctly. So you have, let's take September. So you want to publish September, and you want to make sure that moving forward, let's say we're now in December, close to Christmas, you want to have a post that shows the month of September. So yes, you can do that. I'm again, it's not so sure if this is going to be exactly what you're looking for. So if I had to do that myself, what I would do is I would just create my events for September, for example, normally, and then I would create a post. You need Events Calendar Pro to do what I'm about to suggest. I would create a new post like so, and I would add a short code, and to be fair, of course this is Divi. This will teach me a good lesson, but I would add a short code. We can't limit it to September specifically, but we will soon. So right now there is no easy way to do what you're looking for. And then I look at the details, but you want it fixed to September. So it's going to be, we're almost there right now. What we could do is you could have probably a list view with a start date and end date, but you can't have a full calendar. That's a great feature request. Thank you, Nancy. I will, it's not just for you, it's for everyone. I will make sure we had a short quote argument that lets it sit on a specific month for month view, but you could do something similar with list view right now. You could say display the list view of use short codes basically, and say what is the start date and how many events you want to display in a post, and that's going to work wonderfully. Good question. Thank you.
We do have some praise from Kathy. She says, thanks so much for the categories.
All right. I'm glad. I'm glad. Yeah. And by the way, Kathy and everyone else, whatever you use those new features for, if you want to, just show us what you did, we always appreciate it. And who knows, we might give you a little feature, which in turn gives you more traffic. Everybody wins. So I'm just.
And by the way, if you want to show off or need help or just want to be part of an awesome community, check out the Events Calendar Facebook group. It's recently launched. That's where you can go to get help from fellow community members. You could show off what you're doing at least once a month with the Events Calendar. It's a pretty cool happening place. So keep that in mind. We do have K9 Reading Buddies of the North Shore says the search window does not display on the calendar on the iPhone or on a mobile device.
Okay. It should normally, but it's tucked within the menu.
The hamburger menu, probably, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yes, If that's not showing for you, I'm gonna call you K9. Sorry, but whoever you are. So if it's not showing for you on your specific install, I would recommend reaching out to our support team, and so they could guide you in or figure out what's going on. But yeah, it absolutely should show. And if it's not showing, let's fix it.
Next question is
And
from Jennifer.
yes.
Can we have additional fields not displayed on the event single? We used to be able to do this by adding in a code snippet, but now additional fields always display after recent updates. The snippet now does not work.
Okay. Yes, you could have additional fields not display if the snippet is broken. I'm suspecting, Jennifer, thank you for the question, first of all. Please reach out to support so that we could fix it if it's indeed broken. I mean, sometimes we don't mean to, but as you could tell by the sheer amount of the number of features we have, sometimes by, let's say, creating a new feature, we might break a few things. So if you haven't reached out to support already, please do so. It is news to me. I wasn't aware that this was not possible. And I want to thank everyone that reports glitches we have. We hate them, just to be clear. We're not complacent about those. It's just like, oh shoot, we broke this. Let's fix it right now. So please reach out, Jennifer. But yes, definitely that should be possible.
And Jennifer, if that code snippet that you were using was if you got that from one of our knowledge base articles and it no longer works, be sure to post a link to that here in the chat so I can log that and get that fixed. Definitely get some eyes on that. Our next question is there a simple way for people to print the monthly calendar? People have asked.
Yes, yes, that's a great question. So so what you do is you just go to month, really, and in your browser, and if you print it, we've added CSS, which is just fancy words to say we added code so that this looks good on paper and can fit in one page. So when you're here, and you just go and print, or Control P or Command P, depending if you're using a Macintosh. That's it. It should work if you're having issues on your specific, and it shouldn't have to print the header or the footer. Just print the calendar. If that doesn't work out for you, wherever you are, thank you for the question from the Jewish Federation. Please reach out again. This is how we improve. But normally, this is a feature that went out last year, I believe. We've improved how it works. It used to be not so cool, but now it looks pretty decent. So good question. Thank you so much. I'm gonna navigate the calendar, Cloudflare. Oh yes, this is a recent issue that's been going on for some caching. I mean, again, this without turning this into a full-fledged support chat. What I could tell you, and this hopefully this helps a lot of people. The main issue we've been seeing with different caching providers is the expiration of the cache. So whenever the way this works is, I mean, to simplify, cache takes like snapshots of how your site is looking. And after a certain point, it goes, okay, let's just take another one, just so that we're always up to date. Whenever the time between those snapshots exceeds 12 hours specifically, this is going to depend on how your server is set up, how your specific site is. Whenever that goes beyond 12 hours, it's going to break navigation. So we're working on other ways to help fix that behind the scenes. But the short answer is right now is you absolutely need to make sure that none of those are exceeding 12 hours as far as expiration. If you need help achieving that, you could reach out to our support team. You could reach out to your web host, depending on how it's going. But yeah, we are right now, full disclosure, improving our caching game quite a bit so that it's faster. So good question. Thank you so much. Jeff, I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
I Okay, Jeff, thank you very much. Nancy, I've gone ahead and posted the link in the name of the official the events calendar Facebook group. In K9, it says the hamburger menu does not offer the search window on the iPhone. As we mentioned earlier, if that is the case, we're going to need you to reach out to our support team, create a ticket so that we can look into it a bit deeper and figure out why that is.
Yeah.
And Amy Vasquez says we upgraded to the latest version and we no longer get RSVP signup notifications. And I have a feeling that you also are going to have to reach out to our support team to figure out why that is.
Great. It's always tricky when folks say, and I'm going to take a moment here. So depending what you mean by upgrade to the latest version, some folks it's because they've been using the events calendar for a long time, and by the latest version they mean our more recent, which is actually a year old, like 6.x after version 6. So some folks have experienced some transition, which is normal for major version releases. What I could say is what Jeff said. Yes, if there's any problem, please reach out to support, and 99% of the time they should be able to help you figure out what's going on your side. Now, with that in mind, as a general rule of thumb, whether you're just installing the latest update or you're installing something major, and this is not specific to the events calendar, this is a WordPress thing, please test those updates. You can't, I know auto updates are a big thing, and we're used to do them on our iPhones, on Windows, on Mac. But when it comes to WordPress, it's a bit of a different beast, because keep in mind, you have your website with plugins from super different people and themes from everywhere. So, I mean, nobody means for things to go wrong, but there might be glitches. So my suggestion, and we have great knowledge base articles on this, is please set up a staging service. Most hosting providers now, it's a one-click thing. Basically, it's a copy of your website where you could go crazy and test the updates, check out if it breaks. If it breaks, obviously don't update on your live website. That's the way to do it. I still do that. It's not, and again, I would strongly suggest turning off auto updates in general for your plugins and theme, unless you are on the ball checking your website 24/7 and you have a easy click, like one click restore the backup. But even then, it's not worth it. Please test your all updates. This is not because it's the events calendar. I've been using WordPress a long time, and sometimes it's the darnest thing. You think this little plugin won't do much, but it takes your site down, which is never pleasant. So it could be
you're saying it's not a good thing if I upgrade and my website that I depend on and everybody else depends on turns into a white screen of nothing.
No, white screen or fatal errors. I don't want that for anyone. And it's like, again, sometimes I'll take a moment to say this. Sometimes people might be under the impression that again, we're complacent or that we don't care. But keep in mind, if something crashes on your website, it probably won't do the same for another website, because on your website, it turns out you have the specific plugin, or you have a specific PHP version, or some specific caching. There's so many possible configurations that it's hard to pinpoint. So it's an easy preventable thing. Just make sure you have a copy, a staging. You could do it even on your computer. You could have a local installation of your website, a copy. Test the updates, check that nothing breaks. If it breaks, please reach out to support, say, hey guys, I want to upgrade, but this is broken. And we'll help you. Of course we will. So yeah, sorry for the long-winded answer.
No. And in some ways, when you contact support and we look into the issue and we figure it out, that issue gets documented. And in a way, us helping you is you helping us. It's a mutual relationship, and you're helping others as well if we determine what that issue is, we could document it and help other people or release a fix if necessary. But yeah, like you said, there's so many variations and possibilities and combinations of plugins and versions and web hosting environments out there that, when we release a new version and something on your site breaks, it's not that we didn't test it. We do extensive testing behind the scenes. It's just that we cannot cover all those variations, and that's where the mutual relationship between the customer and the product team and support team comes in handy, because we can help each other to fix it for everybody, so everyone benefits. And speaking of that, Kathy does have some praise. She says that Chad in our customer service did a lot of research for her to make sure that they could do what the customer wanted. So she wanted to give kudos to our chat people. And we
Classic
very
Chad.
much appreciate any compliments that we hear for our support
Yeah,
team, because they deserve it.
and Chad works really hard, but that's classic Chad. I'm glad you liked it. Awesome.
And we'll put this up here. Jewish Federation says, we love the calendar, guys. It's the powerhouse of our website. That's what we want to hear.
Awesome. I'm so happy. And stay tuned. We have some exciting stuff coming up. Um, yeah, it's always exciting, and the more everyone comes to these webinars, sends suggestions, feature requests. If people on this webinar are aware, but we have a link on our website that lets you submit your ideas, and then you could like look at your grandson one day and say, this feature is the one I requested.
That's that's something. Oh, we should I'll get to it after this next question here, but Lynn Williams asks, where do we get the license for the test site so that it matches live?
I'm not 100% sure if I understand the question, but I'm going to try.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is always so. Technically, you do not need a license, a separate license for the test site, or typically you don't even need to input the license key. Okay, so bear with me. I'm gonna try to make it as simple as possible. So what the license really does, unless we're talking about one of our services, such as events aggregator or promoter, but for our plugins and add-ons, the license, what it really does, it allows you to update, and it also allows you to have access to premium support. So in other words, you could totally install the plugin on your test site and not put a license, and there wouldn't be a problem. You just can't update it automatically on there. Now, with that in mind, on test sites, depending on what your domain name is, we have a key knowledge base article on this. A lot of like staging.nameofyoursite.com will be ignored, meaning you could put the license key in, and our system will recognize, oh, wait a minute, this is a staging site, so it doesn't count against the limit, let's say, of one site. So you could technically have it both in both places. So check out, if you haven't already done so, check out our knowledge base. If you don't know how that works, just go on theeventscalendar.com and click on the magnifying glass for the search, and just put something along the lines of license for test sites, like what you just did, and you will come up with the appropriate knowledge base article that tells you all about this in a much, much better way than
Mm-hmm.
I could.
And that's our knowledge base is actually an excellent source for information. If you're ever wanting to know how to do something, we've got a vast array of knowledge that's stored in the knowledge base. It's aptly named for what it provides.
Nice.
Kathy gives us this praise, and this is awesome to hear. We have to account for accessibility on our website. Your calendar is about the only one I found that lets a user navigate the events on the monthly view if they can only use the tab key. Thanks.
Oh, that's awesome, Kathy. That with that in mind, I, as a product owner, I am personally not happy with our level of accessibility just yet, and I know if folks know this, but it's about 25% of the U.S. population, and I would say roughly 17% worldwide actually has some form of accessibility needs when it comes to navigating the web and whatnot. So we decided to make it one of our priorities to increase our accessibility levels throughout the upcoming year. So stay tuned. So even more people can enjoy our calendar. So thank you, Kathy.
And the thing for most of us is we're just one little accident away from being one of those people who needs higher accessibility needs for software.
That's some motivational speech there. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, hey. Let's see. What do we have here? We expect to go live this week with the event calendar for our volunteers to sign up. I am nervous and excited. Thanks for helping me to not feel alone.
Okay, cool. If I could offer some, words of wisdom there, Canine Reading Buddies. That's such a cool title. I have to go check that out after the webinar, not during. But yeah, so if you're nervous, get a couple of friends to test it out before. Do a dry run, or just like what we learned from putting up. Going through the process of doing theater, if you ever done that, like it's worth testing it out. It should go smoothly, and best of luck and success.
So, as we begin the process of wrapping this up, we'll allow for a few more minutes here. If anybody has questions specifically towards some of the new features of Events Calendar Pro, we've got the man here that could answer them. Again, we added organizer categories, multiple venue categories, multiple venue support, featured image support, and we also covered some privacy options that are available to you if you want to show or hide email addresses, phone numbers of organizers. I believe I covered most of your slide deck there.
Yeah, I mean, for those that are visual, I'm just gonna do it and put it on the screen because this is how I roll. Or is it? That's a good question. There we go. This is what we covered today for folks. Again, check it out and reach out if you have questions. Show us what you did with those features. There's so many exciting possibilities. And one quick tip, let's say you're using multiple venues because, I don't know, you have an event that's going on in several locations at once, and you still want to sell tickets. So what you could do is you could have one of the tickets for that event to be for venue A, another ticket for venue B, and so on and so forth. So just have separate tickets for each venue. That's just one of the possibilities out there. So yeah, cool. All right, I think I could stop sharing now.
And I believe the article that we wanted to share earlier is that using one license for both a live and local development site. Was that the article?
Yeah, that's one of them. That's one of them. Yeah, that should help. Wonderful.
All right, let me
look at the Jeffs.
There we go. There's a link to the knowledge base article about that. I believe, Kathy, the replay will be available afterwards, and a link will be sent to those who registered, and you'll see that in a follow-up email. You'll be able to watch a replay.
Awesome.
And one other thing here, I believe our audience here probably already has Events Calendar Pro and wants to know what's in the new features of Events Calendar Pro. But if you ever want to like play around with like maybe a fresh environment or play around with other plugins, we do have a demo site on the TEC website where you can go into and you can play with all of the various add-ons for the Events Calendar, the Events Calendar Pro, events tickets, and all the various filter bar, like we mentioned here. You can see how all of those things work together in case you're interested in maybe adding on to your existing setup.
Yeah, good point. 100%.
Let's see. So, and by the way, for those participating in the chat, do you prefer Jeff with a J or Jeff with a G? I'm just throwing that out there.
So yeah. Or better question is, which one sounds more British?
Oh, there is no way. There's no way I'm winning that one.
That's why I asked that question.
Let's
That's
see. I
funny.
want to thank everybody. Oh, look at that. You've already got a fan here in the chat.
Nice. Thank you so much.
I want to thank everybody for watching us on YouTube, for participating and asking your questions here in StreamYard. We will be doing another webinar soon covering what's new in the events calendar. There's always something new around the corner. Things are always being worked on. Again, if you have any issues, technical issues, something's not working, please contact our support team. We have a bunch of experts ready to help you out. Check out the events calendar knowledge base. There's a lot of information there where your issue probably is likely have already been documented. The solution's probably already there in the knowledge base article. And if you just want to get some pointers or show off what you're doing or just ask general questions about the product, check out our Facebook group, which I have posted a link to somewhere in here, but there's a link to the official TEC, the events calendar Facebook group.
And let's not forget, Jeff, our YouTube channel.
Aha, yes. Yes, so check out the YouTube channel where I have been publishing many screencasts covering the various features and add-ons and stuff. So if you love my voice, you'll love our YouTube channel. And with that, Jeff, I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you very much for lending us your time and your expertise. Again, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.